TGIF. It's around lunchtime, Friday, March 5th, and we have Pages Comics to ink. I think this is page 4 of Juniper, and Faust is making an appearance. It's a sequence where the kids are adorning Halloween costumes. And the reason for that is because their friend doesn't look quite right, and they want to take her out on the town. But that can't be done in her proper physical form. So the little sister gets the idea to dig into Mom's closets. Let's dig out all of our Halloween costumes from the past. And let's go out and about. But of course they abuse it by messing with a little neighbor. Got the Sailor Moon mask. He has his hand on top of it right there. Pulls it up to reveal our girl Juniper. And we see the little neighbor girl speeding off while Juniper goes the other way. It's going to be a good page. Shane, that's funny, man. Welcome to the stream. We're here hustling today, and I heard recently that hustle culture is toxic, so join me in the toxicity, fellow Kayfabe crew. Did you guys see the Spider-Man video, the anti-smoking vid? That was a fun one. I was digging through the long boxes looking for some fun stuff to make vids about, and I was looking through that anti-smoking gimmick, and when I came to the little piece at the end that I wrote in that little dialogue bubble at the end there, I had to put that under the microscope. I knew I was going to be able to weave that into a fun video. Early stream. We're getting it in early today. Why not? So the little sister's costume is like a pirate. It's not like a pirate, it is a pirate. Little brother's going to be a Ninja Turtle. Big brother's Faust, and Juniper has like a Sailor Moon mask on. Right now, this is the 6th issue of 13. It's not going to be one of the monthly comics. In fact, I guess the way it's going to work out is there will be 2 comics coming out that month. Announcements will be made, I believe, April 1st. Yes, the first printed issue of Red Room comes out in May of this year, and you could pre-order it today. You could pre-order the first 2 issues right there. Thousands of people have done so, and I suggest you do as well, because my comics always go into reprints pretty quickly, and there will be a dry spell where you just will not be able to get it. Darwin, thanks for the super chat. Yeah, the Cooper School conversation comes up a bunch. You could probably make a drinking game out of it, but we never made like a specific dedicated episode or anything like that. It had its profound moments for sure, but it wasn't what I wanted. I sort of saw the scam of it. Yeah, that Spider-Man episode was funny. We recorded it yesterday, and it just felt good. You know, we were cracking up, having a good time. We usually do anyhow, but there was a little something extra funny about that. Give our little pirate girl a peg leg. I don't think you're exactly missing anything by not going to the Cubert school. In fact, if it was possible, I would suggest just take that money and live on it for a year and draw your ass off and design your own kind of career. The problem with a trade school like that is that they're not gonna train you to be an assassin. You know, like they're going to train you to be a competent journeyman, and that's okay, man. Like if you want a gig, like, you know, we talk that jobber talk and stuff like that, man. But if that's your bag, so be it. The difference with me is that it ain't my bag. Like I gotta have I have my own vision with the things that I want to do and the things that I want to accomplish. And that kind of instruction did nothing for that vision. You know, essentially they're training you to be a hack, and that's not interesting to me. If I'm gonna take time out of my life from being around my loved ones and having fun with them and adventures and stuff, I'm not gonna be doing hack work. I'm gonna, regardless of what you think of my stuff, I at least tried. You know, I could always sleep good at night thinking that. Batman Grendel, I do have that, so maybe Jim and I will have to do a video on that at some point. I gotta tell you, this channel is one of the most fun projects I've ever participated in. Just a great excuse to hang out with Jimmy and read comics, talk comics. I've always learned a lot from him. Been hanging out with the dude since I was about 21 years old. You know, I'm 38 now. And without Jimmy and Tom, like, I'm sure I would be 5 years behind where I am right now. So my only regret really is not in creating a YouTube channel earlier where we can make this happen. But we have it now. It's a fun toy. Did you guys see the Liefeld episode? Man, I wanted to scream that one from the mountaintops to you. You know I did. But Rob is a smart cat, man. You know, I asked him, can I stream this thing? He's just like, wait till we announce it, put the pages out there and stuff. And it was you guys who kind of hipped me to. I never read comic websites, man. Like, I don't care about what any other critic has to say about a thing. I don't even know what's coming out. I just I operate like the internet doesn't exist when it comes to my engagement with comics. I just love to dig and discover. So I'm not hip to a lot of stuff. But I have social media, so I was getting tagged left and right in articles and junk. Hit him up. Uncle Rob, man, can I post this? He gave me that go ahead, man, and I whipped up that video real quick. The time lapse, if you were curious, took me about an hour and a half to ink that page for him. Pretty simple page, not many backgrounds or anything like that. When I was doing it, I was talking all the way through it, so you'll see these pauses and you'll see me pointing at stuff, showing off the ruler and junk, and that was me talking, but it just doesn't work without the chat. Like, I could bring my head up from the drawing board. I could check out what you guys are saying, see if there's a question that's engaging to me, respond, right? And we have that rapport that way. We can make this stream work that way. But a video of me sitting there drawing, filibustering without any kind of feedback, you know, in a room by myself, no music playing, that just seems bordering on some Rupert Pupkin crazy shit. Especially in these COVID times, man, when we're all locked down. Comic Stripped, if you want to see this on digital, man, you could just hit up my Patreon. You could read the first 2 issues up there today. This is issue 0 that I'm working on right now. And you know what? This comic ain't gonna cost you much. And by much, I mean anything. And it's a fucking good one. This is a good comic. Chock full of stuff. It's gonna be 33 pages. The cover is ill. Cyan Blue. First off, you have a very cool name. Second off, thank you for that compliment regarding the vids kind of steering your buying habits a bit. Definitely a lot of cool comics out there, and there are some amazing secret gems out there. We just recorded some great vids highlighting some very cool secret stuff that is abundant but not apparent. So you're gonna dig it. And I suggest that I'm imagining that many of you are subscribers with the notifications on because you're here early. And if you're not, like, I suggest you hit the bell, you subscribe so that you can get in early on the videos, because sometimes, man, like Jim and I, we've been accumulating comics for 35 years, you know, and these comics we got 25 cents, a dollar, you know, a box of $5 trades we would rummage through and pull some stuff from. So we have no idea what shit is worth. It's not like I'm going on eBay seeing what, you know, my comics collection is worth. And we highlight stuff, and there might be, you know, 3 copies up on eBay or something for cheap. Those will disappear immediately by audience members who subscribe. And then the next time they show up on eBay, you could expect to pay $20 more. $20 a pop for Vendetta and Artillery, the great Steve McCardle, one of the secret gems of Outlaw Comics. We sort of discovered him last year. Somebody sent us some stuff in the mail, and we did our video, and it just so happened that Steve was watching, sent us even more stuff, and I think the ball got rolling. Incredible Outlaw Comics. Storm Crow, thanks for joining the stream. One of the regular crew. They had a couple days off of streaming. Got 6 more pages of this story to draw. And, you know, they'll all be streamed. We had a couple of nice days here in town. So I started riding my bike again. And I finished riding. I do my same jaunt that I always do, a little 20-mile loop. And, you know, busted it out for the first time in months. And really have been fairly sedentary for, you know, the past 3 months. And when I get back to the car, load up the bike and everything, I'm like, man, I feel good. Like, I didn't lose anything these past couple of months sitting on my duff, drawing comics constantly. Like, this is awesome. Got in the whip. You know, 5 minutes to get back to the crib. Get out of the car. Jelly legs. Jelly legs, man. I definitely have some work to do. We are rapidly approaching print time. Final order cutoffs, all of that stuff. for the first issue of Red Room, and the year is just going to accelerate so much. I'm going to be so freaking busy. I feel it already, like with the emails and stuff that I've been getting from the publisher. Ed, these are the priorities right now. This, and it'll be like a laundry list. But you know how your homeboy is, man. I've never missed a deadline. Never missed a deadline, and everything has looked the way it should have looked for the time. You know, better or worse, like it was the best I could possibly do. Like I never hacked a thing. Like certainly had certain levels of incompetence, and still do, will continue to, and also will continue to grow constantly. But like I said, I always do my best. And with something like Red Room, something that you own, man, you gotta make that the flyest comic ever. Take a dive. Take a dollar from Marvel and DC. But what's your real shit? You gotta be hardcore, man. This is your livelihood you're playing with. Yeah, doesn't the Gray Girl Juniper look so ghostly amongst all the poppy colors of the rest of the characters? I can't wait to see what that looks like in print. That FAUST mask, man. And then FAUST has those like black eyes with just like red pupils. Light on the backgrounds this stream. I'm probably gonna try to figure them out later. So this will mostly be just figure drawing. Rich asks, do I pencil and Procreate, scan, Photoshop the pencil pages to blue? And what I do is actually both. So, let's see. I'm not sure if you're able to tell very well. And it might be fuzzy by bringing it up to the cam, so apologies for that. You'll see light lines, and those are drawings. Those are lines that I put in Procreate. And then the darker lines are just pencil on the page. So there's kind of two levels. I basically compose and rough in Procreate. The value of that for me is what I call bulletproof compositions. And you could just move things a millimeter and just get them arranged better. Like if you were to do it practically, if you roughed something in that you're happy with, you would have to trace it, erase it, lightbox it, and replace it. Like, that's a lot of steps. But in Procreate, it's like lasso tool that bitch, move that bitch. Gotta have the two claws. Welcome to the streams though. Feeling super good today. Very well caffeinated. Got plenty of sleep. We have cool videos recorded and edited. That was most of yesterday. Gonna put on a pot of deadline soup that I'm gonna be eating for the next week. In gulag Soviet fashion, you know, get shit done, functional meals so that I could just apply so much time to these pages. Deadline soup is just cobbled together so many vegetables, beans for protein. It's got to be 40 or 50. I think I used the biggest stock pot. So is that no, I don't know, because saying 40 gallon, that's like a drum, right? Biggest stock pot you could get, and basically, since there's no meat, you could eat it for longer, and it yields breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 7 days, 21 meals. Take an hour to prepare it. I'm gonna put it on in a second, and then you just have to reheat that stuff. You know, that's like that Einstein thing, you know, how he would wear the same outfit all the time, so he didn't have to think about it. Let me put together 21 meals so I don't have to think about it for a week. Yes, the reason I brought up the Epson workforce is because it does print up on Bristol. That's the whole point. Printed it up on printed the Uncle Rob pages up on some Bristol. Nah, man, I should use a dip pen for that. The dip pen for the little dude's ragged mullet. Ratty hair. Nasty little dudes. Oh, Uncle Rob liked the duo shade on the page. I gave him 3 options. I gave him the bare bones, I gave him the shade that I showed you guys, and the the piece that is contained within the various articles. And then I gave him like 100% black line duotone. And I suggested going with the one that he chose, which is the one in the articles, and the one that I showed you guys, where it's about a 50% black. Doesn't overpower the line art. And that's essentially the approach that I'm taking with Red Room. The kind of artwork. So I showed him what it looks like in print. Sort of made the argument for him. And he accepted my prescription. That's the one that he's going to use. Alright, one down. Good to have open panels, especially on such a congested page here. With no context, this must look insane. Man, I still remember when Sailor Moon came to America. When I realized that those cartoons were Japanese, I was eating all of that stuff up. There was one called Ronin Warriors that was real sick. Had some cool toys. Voltron is before my time. There were also these very weird cartoon like fairy tales or something that would have been on Nickelodeon, and that was like kind of before I realized that what I was looking at was Japanese imports. Man, I forget what those Nickelodeon things were called, but there would be like I remember the end sequence would be this kind of like flying girl through a forest with fireflies around or something. I say that because I'm hoping that somebody will be like, oh yeah, that's blah blah blah. Is Go Lion a Go Nagai thing? I don't think I know that. Or is Go Lion Voltron's original name? Like Makagogo? Yeah, Voltron, Macross, Robotech. I'm like 1 year behind that stuff growing up. I just didn't connect with it. Yeah, that was such a cool invention when Tom had his Black Panther Megazords. And trust me, I mean, I don't know if he called it Voltron in his video, but it was super like sort of when we were last able to hang out. You know, this COVID stuff kind of separated us in a way. Just keeping sheltered and all that. He was checking out those Jew Ranger, those original Power Ranger Japanese shows, Super Sentai, and I could tell that was leaving a profound impact on him. And when something leaves a profound impact on him, it's gonna be showing up in the comics. You dig? 1 second. Send in a text quick. Boom, we spin many plates here, and there's lots of business to handle. All right. We're inking comics, we're streaming videos, we're handling business with print and production. If hustle culture is toxic, call me the Toxic Avenger. Toxic Adventure. Gatchaman was such a cool discovery for me. I still remember when that went down for me. If you guys remember, like, cable worked weird for years and years. Like, Pittsburgh is not a major market, so for quite a while we had about 25 channels. And it would be like we would have USA, but USA was part of some umbrella, is that Viacom or some company like that. And there would be commercials for Sci-Fi Channel, Cartoon Network, Comedy Central, WB. We didn't get those stations. We did not get those channels in Pittsburgh until we did. Like the floodgates just opened, and then all of a sudden we would have 50 channels. And when we got Sci-Fi Channel and Cartoon Network, the mind was blown. Battle of the Planets, Gatchaman was on Cartoon Network. Akira was on television. On like Labor Days, Memorial Days, Sci-Fi Channel, there was the Mighty Marvel Marathon. Because believe it or not, boys and girls, you could not take for granted that you would get to see Spider-Man on the tube. Like the Mighty Marvel Marathon. I still have the VHS tapes where, recorded on EP, whichever recording protocol allowed you to record like 5 or 8 hours or whatever on a tape. And it would be 3 tapes long, man, to capture all of the Mighty Marvel Marathon. Every episode of the Lou Ferrigno Hulk, including the movies, the one with Thor, and the one with Daredevil, who had a black costume, if I remember correctly. Joe Bob was not on USA. Joe Bob was on TNT Monster Vision. Gilbert Gottfried and Rhonda Shear were on USA Up All Night. There was a weird Doctor Strange 1970s TV show. There was a 1970s Captain America that was trying to exploit the popularity of Easy Rider, so he wore a bike helmet, had a motorcycle, and I'm not even sure if he had a shield. Here's the thing, though, like I wasn't hip to like the logistics, the legalese of certain things. I remember wanting to like watch that Mighty Marvel Marathon thing on Sci-Fi Channel, hoping to catch that Roger Corman Fantastic Four. And of course you had to wait to get that on bootlegs at the comic convention. But I do remember seeing the trailer for that on, I believe I would rent and re-rent Carnosaur 2 or 3 on VHS just to watch the Roger Corman Fantastic Four trailer. The nib that I'm using is a G-Pen, Japanese. The nib of Mangaka Champions. If you watch episodes of Man Ben, they all use the G-Pen. It's still unclear to me if there are like many kinds of G-Pens. Like somebody says that this is called a Zebra G-Pen, but I don't know how you even tell. Yeah, the G Pen nib does hold more ink than your Hunt 102. I'm probably dipping it more than necessary because that's just a consequence of the habit that is formed after drawing 3,000 pages using a Hunt 102. So it's like some motor response thing that I'm doing. Part of using the manga tools is for speed stuff. I mean, I just imagine that if you are drawing 17 pages a week, you figured out a few tricks to speed up the process a touch. Yeah, nibs are fun. Just what you have to change habitually for yourself is just to remember it's all pulling strokes. Got to pull the lines toward you. Can never push it, or else you just spatter everywhere. But maybe you're going Stedman. Maybe you want to spatter everywhere. If you can make it work, make it work. Just my style is while raw and wobbly, still deliberate lines is my kind of modus operandi. And by the way, with this exact team of characters, I would love to do like 100 pages of comics. It's gonna bum me out when this one is over. I might have to try to figure out another weird way to make a Red Room Kids comic, because that's what this is. This is still Red Room. The other fun thing about this kind of style is that it doesn't take that long. What may be seeming like an eternity while you watch this is surprisingly much more breezy than my usual stuff. Oh yeah, little brother has freckles. Let the mullet flap in the wind. This is going to be the beginning of our character's troubles. Because they're going to play a mean trick on little neighbor girl. And her big brother's going to be upset about that. It won't be the worst trouble, because they have Juniper. a lot of lines on this little girl's face, and I'm not exactly sure what she'll look like until we start inking her in. I'll kind of make my choices then. I want her to seem smaller and younger than these kids. So I think one strategy for doing so is to mush her features up closer together, create the impression of a much bigger head. It seems preposterous to have a bike helmet on a Power Wheel, but who knows if she needs that bike helmet on when she's off the Power Wheel. All right, let's see what we come up with. Troy Nixie, one of the Outlaw Comics gods in the house, people. Give shouts to Uncle Troy, and congratulations as well, Troy. I don't know if word is out on the street, so I won't blow the spot, but very stoked for you. That's the other thing with this image, man. Like in order to sell the wickedness or whatever, the meanness of our guys, little girl has to look extra innocent, and she'll be wearing some like Oshkosh bagosh jumper or overalls or whatever that shit is called. Everybody should check out Troy Nixie's Instagram. He's doing these commissions right now that are unfrickin' believable in terms of craft. Troy, if you're still here, man, how long does it take you to do one of those pieces? I mean, is it more than a week? It looks like hundreds of hours are put into those. With no exaggeration. $20 by $24 took a month. This guy can sling some fucking ink. I swear to God, man. Humbling. Humbling artwork. Makes you bummed that comics isn't a lucrative enough operation where it would justify you doing a 32 pager like that. It would kill the game. You know, nobody would be able to touch it, but guy's got to live. Man's got bills to pay. Oh yeah, there's some wheels here. Do they even make big wheels anymore? She should have a striped shirt, just to have some textures, to some gray to break up the image a bit, because I don't want to hatch these characters very much. Keep it simple lines. Keep it simple, stupid. Have you guys ever seen that Dave Lapham draws a Popeye strip very regularly for only his wife's consumption? And every now and then, I think she had a Twitter, Maria Lapham, and she might even like include the links in her Twitter or whatever. Did I say Tumblr? Like, I think she put them up on Tumblr, but I remember getting there by way of Twitter. And she every now and then she'll just post 20, 30, 50 of these strips that this dude is just drawing because he likes to draw. You know, like he's just keeping the swordcraft honed. And they're beautiful. They are incredible comic strips. He is a great cartoonist. And he's just drawing these things, man, for his wife's pleasure. It's so cool. You know, that's a real one, man. That's the opposite of when we talk that jobber talk. You know, this is a guy who makes comics. It's in his DNA. He's not using the medium to try to advance in some other medium. Dude makes comics. Yeah, those Fantagraphics Popeye books, man, clutch. Get your hands on those things. I'm talking about Seeger, the OG stuffs. When we talk about drawing tangents, they always say it's a bad tangent to have a line touch the corner. But I wonder if that's a nitpick. Like, I don't like. Is that a tangent? Why is that bad? I understand why the other ones are bad, but that's one I never got. I try not to do it, but only because I'm being a follower and not a leader. It's a weakness. I don't think I ever heard the argument made. For some reason, I just feel like inking in this little girl right now. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do real quick? Let me go. Let me go turn on today's pot of deadline soup. Get that simmering. Be right back. Back to the lab. So, do you guys think what Jim was working on was the G.I. Joe page? Graham, what is it that you were speaking of? Is Jim streaming too? Or are you talking about the stuff that we've been teasing for months? Where we at? All right. Oh, yeah. Jim drew some cool G.I. Joe stuff in the past. Some cool variant covers. There's like a romance cover. G.I. Joe cover he did for IDW. He did an incredible cover for Tom's book too, Transformers G.I. Joe. Used some zips on that. Big Optimus Prime. With a bunch of little figures. That's the fun stuff, right? Playing with the scale. You had these giant robots and you have little humans. Tommy was super good with that. Getting that sense of scale across. He was working hard ahead of time to make that possible. You know, filling up sketchbooks. So cool to watch. I feel like Tom was working on Transformers G.I. Joe for like, no exaggeration, a year before he put pencil to paper on the first issue. Because there's all these formal things that have to be done. Especially like, it's not just IDW saying, yeah, go ahead. It's like you got Hasbro in the mix. And I'm sure that the comics are the last things that are talked about in any kind of meetings. You know, something tells me that Star Wars figures and, I don't know, Mr. Potato Head usurp comics that sell a couple thousand when it comes to the corporate bottom line. I want to spawn Red Room crossover comic. That's kind of what that's a fun goal to have. The way that it could happen, though, the only way that it could happen is if Red Room is popular enough. I sort of know how Spawn can kill my guys. And it'll be a cool crossover because my dudes will have to die. They can only die by the hands of superheroes. So in the meantime, let's goose up these numbers, man, for Red Room. Pre-order some comics. Order some for your friends. Get some gifts on the docket, man. Prepare for birthdays. Your gothist friends. Your horror movie loving homies. They'll dig the comic. And it'll be the same thing that happened when Hip Hop Family Tree came out. I'll be getting emails from people who are receiving these things as gifts saying, I didn't know they made comics anymore. And this thing is like made for me. I've gotten so many emails like that. I actually had a guy doing some work at the house, and saw the collection and everything. Was like, comics, huh? And then asked what I did. Like, there's no couch here. This ain't a leisure spot. Just drawing tables everywhere. I'm like, yo, dude, I draw comics. And we're very lucky. We have some great stores here, and we have very, very big stores here where you can find lots of old comics. Like, it's not relegated to just the new stuff. And we're very lucky that way. Go to New York and try going back issue diving. I don't even know where that's possible. And we have this one shop that fills up an old Best Buy. Like, Best Buy moved out of this one location. It was a building that was built by Best Buy, so it's the same structure as like any Best Buy that you see anywhere. That big, and this comic shop fills it up. Maybe 300. Shit, it's got to be way more than that. But just long boxes filled with books for $1. And this plumber dude was like, I went by there and I just popped my head in. Like, I didn't know that comics could sustain a space that big. But that shop owner's super savvy. And I think got a sweet insurance deal because of some follies at their prior location. Essentially, the roof fell in on them, and then the building was condemned the next day. Which was probably a long time coming, but it did bum me out that they closed that old mall, because there was a shoe store there that nobody knew about, and I could get fly sneakers. It was like one of the 3 stores that were like still open in this giant mall, so it was almost completely zombified. See little Juniper, man, she's almost feral. Man, I could smell my soup already. Just even turning it on, man, I lifted the lid, and it smelled super good already. Prepped it last night because I wanted all the vegetables to sit in that stock overnight. Put a lot of salt, a lot of pepper in there so that it pulls out the flavor from those veggies, and it all kind of marinates together. Graham, which part of town do you live in? Ooh, speaking of Master Splinter, I think I know exactly what I feel like watching when I turn this stream off and keep drawing. Have you guys ever seen the Turtle Power documentary? The kind of humble origins of the TMNT? It's a stellar documentary. Answers so many questions. A lot of stuff you've heard, but then you get to see a lot of cool prototypical artwork and stuff. Graham, if you live in Central PA, how far do you live from Centralia? Yes, I will be adding a duotone to this story, but only on the Juniper character. So if you scroll back on the YouTube homepage or whatever you want to call it, look through some of the earlier streams, and there will be one that says something about making demented kids comics, and you'll see the thumbnail, and you'll see the approach. Juniper is not colored. She's fully in duotone, and that's all. The rest of the characters are the most saturated colors, and the backgrounds are done similarly to the way I colored Hip Hop Family Tree and X-Men. Little experiment, small formal experiment that I think is working out well. Power Comics in the house. Everybody subscribe to the Power Comics YouTube channel. They're doing some great read-throughs with my homeboy Ben Mera. They are reaching out and doing interviews with great 80s black and white cartoonists, man, with Outlaw Persuasions, man. Congrats on the Steve McCardle interviews that were done very recently. It's an incredible Instagram that they're running. It's an incredible YouTube channel. They have a Patreon. And Dark Side of the Ring ain't nothing to sneeze at neither. Looking forward to season 3 on that. There is a really good toned kids comic from the 80s, probably from 86, that is one of my favorite comics ever. It really is, and it's totally because I got it when I was a little kid. It's weird. There was never a second issue as far as I could tell, and I just read it so much. I loved it. It was from Amazing Comics, and it's called Gadget Gang. Gadjit, I think. It's not spelled gadget in the traditional spelling. And they use duotone board for that. There's a little rich kid, there's a little fat kid, there's a blonde dude with like a propeller beanie or something. The rich kid makes it possible for them to have vehicles. I think the cover to the second issue that I don't think ever came out. They're about to fight a dude that is a crayon, like a crayon is running away from them or something. Skullhammer official, man. That's Steve McCardle himself. Steve, we were talking about you, man. Were your ears ringing? And I'm saying pre-Power Comics diatribe. A couple of guys got a hold of your comics for about 20 a pop this past week or something. Probably after seeing your interview. And thank you for sending your stuff to us, man. And quote me a price on some of those portfolio sleeves you put together, man. Quote me a price for the whole issue. Hit me on Facebook. Very smart. Very smart. Yeah, save that art for the TPB. Power Comics is bringing Jontar back, baby. I see it every time I go digging, but I bet I won't see it anymore. Everybody's scooping up the Jontars. Jason, thanks for pre-ordering Red Room issue 1 and 2. Fuck yeah, I'm a Brian Pillman fan. Those Bengal trunks, they do it for me. Pre-order your issues of Red Room 1 and 2. Let's goose up those numbers, man, so that I can have a Spawn versus Red Room comic. If my numbers are popular enough. I've not seen Castle Freak. But I will put that on the list for sure. Oh, that's good, man. Evan, you were holding that close to your vest when we interviewed you on the channel, because I'm quite sure that that Jimmy brought up the idea, hoping that you guys would do the Pillman episode. The gun on TV angle, strong one. Felt real. Oh, Power Comics, man. You gotta talk to Jimmy Rugg. You gotta talk to Jimmy Rugg about that, man. There's no one that would do a better job. Mad Bug says this is so chill, and that's the truth. Like, this process for me, I'm no hippie motherfucker, but this is like Zen type shit. It's very kind of relaxing, calming. Even if I fuck up, it ain't that big of a deal, man. I'll fix it. But I'm pretty much even sitting in like lotus position, sitting here doing the stuff that I was born to do, with not one ill feeling or negative care in the world, you know. And I hope you guys feel that energy. Sailor Moon with Faust, baby, with like a little wonky Ninja Turtle costume and a little pirate baby girl. Welcome to the Red Room. It'll all make sense when you read the comic. Jauntar. So it's like a little Faust little kid, Sailor Moon little kid, Ninja Turtle little kid, Male Stripper little kid. What? Did we just get yanked off YouTube? And that's when the loser squad isolates that frame and tries to cause damage. Gonna put these backgrounds in a little bit later. It's not even thinking about them really right now. It's all about the characters. They're gonna be on kind of like a what would be called a suburban street, because there are houses that live, nestled up next to each other, all of that. But it's a gummo town that these fucking kids live in, but not rural. Just shitty as hell. Went down a Harmony Korine rabbit hole at the end of 2020, and there is a like panel discussion that's like a Gummo nickel dime anniversary convention with grown up Solly and Tumblr and the little rabbit dude all sitting up on a panel together. Let me go turn this soup down if I need to. BRB. Yeah, there's so much liquid in that cauldron, man. It takes an hour just to get it boiling. The magic happens when all the veggies are softened up, and then that's time to put in the herbs and like parsley and stuff. And that is the moment where the neighbors knock on the door and are like, yo, Ed, let me get a bowl. I still gotta see Spring Breakers. I have it ready to go. It's really hard for me to watch stuff. Gummo's great, man. Gummo is the only flick that I can think of that if you had one of those DVD players that had the shuffle option on the like the chapter breakdown thing, it's the only flick that works that way. You know, where the chapters are broken up perfectly. It's a kind of a non-linear story. So it doesn't matter which sequence of events you see, in what order or whatever. totally works. Little Juniper got those Beetlejuice teeth when he used to have them. Hey Angus, this is a great endorsement. Now I gotta see Spring Breakers. Spring Breakers is okay. Really messed up amoral movie hiding under the surface of seemingly normal college party shit. Count me in. I don't like my movies to be baby food. Beetlejuice from Stern, of course. Adam Brooks. Thanks for the super chat, homie. Adam Brooks did some cool ass. Adam, were they marker drawings? I thought they were paintings, but I remember you saying that they were magic markers. But he did portraits of me, Jimmy, and Tom that are perfect. Crayola super tip, so it's like little kid shit, huh? It's not even Copics. Now you're flexing, homie. That's awesome. You're a heck of an artist, man. The way that you're able to just observe and see and put down like the exact perfect lines and stuff, man. It makes me think that there was that book back in the day. I'm sure it's still in print. I think it was very popular, called Drawing from the Right Side of the Brain. And it strikes me that you're like one of those cats, man, that can just perfectly like see the proportions. This shape in relation to this shape creates the exact forehead shape, yada yada. Draw some more Beetlejuice teeth. Easier for me to draw Juniper's hair with a marker. Once again, she has kind of ratty, gross, unkempt, greasy hair. These are greasy, nasty, trash bag kids. That's good, man. This panel-to-panel reveal has the hand coming down more than when I put together the thumbnail for this video. The hand was basically in the same position as this one. The hand that was here was basically in that same position. So when I made the thumbnail, just looked at it again and was like, oh no, that hand has to come down because it has to pull up that mask to reveal our girl with those big goofy eyes. Can you guys tell that I'm having a fucking super good time making this comic? Can you tell that I'm having an absolute blast? That's the spirit, man. That's the only way that I can make a comic, is by having such a good time. I'm gonna let everybody else suffer for the artwork. I'll be the one hanging out having fun with it. Masters of Horror is dope. Whenever I get the chance, I try to catch an episode before bed. One second. All right. Let's wrap this up. Drawing this comic gives me a really even greater respect for like the Carl Barkses and the Hergés and the people who are playing with this four road set of panels, smaller, you know, and certainly Carl Carl Barks, when you have to compose a bunch of images with Huey, Dewey, Louie, Donald Duck, you know, all these characters in one panel. It's really something to study. It's really something to take a look at and just like see how they were able to make that magic happen. Because at any point, it could have been confusing and weird and off. You know, like I sort of going to have to use color to help on some of this because I just don't have that skill set. Let Juniper pop some. She's allowed to be more detailed and stuff. Yeah, it is like we're all in the same bullpen. I feel that energy. You know, I didn't put the call out earlier, but very often lots of you guys are out there making comics right there next to me, and it's a good feeling. You know, we all have to grind. And these comics, they're not going to make themselves. So like the big kind of loss that I had with COVID, the big kind of change to my normal procedures is that I just don't have people sharing my studio with me. You know, everybody's locking down. Everybody's been locked down. So this is like a version of that. And she's going to have all the duotone trappings, cool shading. Lots of kind of technique. Because we need her to stand apart. Anyhow, what do we got? Yeah, a nice 2-hour stream. That's about the limit before I get a little restless. Got to move the bones a bit. Get up, walk around. I say that just because it's 20 degrees here in town. If you haven't done so, pre-order those Red Room comics. We need to get this thing popular enough to convince Todd McFarlane to let me do a Spawn meets Red Room comic. And here we are, man, halfway through page 4 of 9 of this insane story called Juniper. It's going to be available for the price of $0.00 in print when the time comes. More news on that later. Kayfabe crew, everybody, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers. Bye.